one night only. Kicking off the Schmoedown 2019 season with a bang. At 8:30 p.m. is Alex Marzona.
Didn't take much to entice me. You might not, but I think I see so much in you. So much left to. Don't be shy. I promise I am not as crazy as I seem.
At 9 p.m., The River of Paradise, a tribute to Meatloaf and Billy Joel.
Treasure till you spend a lot of money.
Oh, preacher child.
And closing the night off at 11 p.m., the Urban Gladiator, Jay Washington.
And it's only two things you can do about it. Nothing and deal with it. Damn it. See you soon.
The Schmoedown New York City fan meetup live at Sidewalk Cafe in New York City, January the 24th. Be there. $5 suggested donation for each act with a 2 food and drink minimum.
With that being said, let's get ready to Schmoedown! Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Schmoedown Rundown. Introducing first, Frankie Stan Janisch, and the host of the Schmoedown Rundown, Brad Gilmore.
What's up, Movie Trivia Schmoedown fans? Welcome to the Schmoedown Rundown, the official after show for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. Now, for the very first time on the brand new, rebranded Movie Trivia Schmoedown YouTube channel, formerly Schmoes Know. Welcome all. Once again, to reiterate, my name is Brad Gilmore. I'm the host of this show where we break down the greatest game ever played. No, not that movie with, I think, Tobey Maguire or Shia LaBeouf. I get them confused. But we talk about the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, which obviously, if you're a subscriber to this channel now, probably you know, created by Christian Harloff and Mark Ellis. We break down the matches, the competitors, the storylines, the minutia that takes place every single week across all leagues, Star Wars, singles, inner geekdom, and teams. And I talk about it with some very talented folks here. And I'm going to go around the table. We're going to introduce ourselves to each other because we're very unfamiliar with each other, and to you at home. I'm going to start with my guy who technically lives in Chicago, Illinois. And if you live outside of city limits, don't say you're from Chi-Town. He will get hot about it. His name is Frank Jinga Janisch. Frank, how are you?
I'm doing very good, and that is absolutely correct, Brad. If anybody, even from Indiana, I know people from Indiana will say they're from Chicago. Get out of here with that nonsense. But anyways, it's great to be on here, the formerly Schmoes Know channel, the Movie Trivia Schmoedown YouTube channel. As everyone knows, or mostly everyone knows, moved over from Collider now over to here. And here we are as well. I'm excited for the new season to come. But right now we're in the off season, so we're having a little fun here today.
But Frank, let the people know, what do you do? What is your skill set when it comes to the Movie Trivia Schmoedown? You have a particular function.
Yes, I have a segment on the Schmoedown itself, the Schmoedown breakdown, and so I do all the stats for the players, the matches, teams, and all of that stuff, and I post it on the website, triviasd.com, and I also tweet them out at SD Rundown Stats. That's a Twitter handle where I post some of the stats of players and competitors and little nuggets here and there, info about things happening within leagues and players. So I do a lot of that stuff, and that's pretty much it. And then come on here, every Friday or Saturday.
Yes, there we go. Exactly. I appreciate your explanation of that, Frank, and I appreciate your Sun Records t-shirt. I'm a big fan of that. Let's go also to the producer here before we welcome our special guest. Producer who's the third man. A lot of times he's the fifth Beatle if you will. He's the producer of the show. He helps run the boards. He helps put up the beautiful graphics, make sure we're streaming right. And he also has some very funny things. He says funny things all the time, like, oh, mamacita. He is Chris Clark. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Brad. This is an honor to be here on what was formerly one of the channels that I used to binge when I was, before I started the rundown, was the Schmoedown Network. It's an honor for us to be here, and it's an honor from me coming from Pennsylvania. I love the atmosphere of everybody and the family atmosphere. So this new era is gonna rock, Brad, and it's gonna rock to the end of time.
Awesome. I appreciate it. It wouldn't be a show without hearing that. And here's the thing. We have a special guest who's going to join us right now and break down everything that we're going to talk about on the show today. We're going to be doing top five entrances and top 5 moments from the 2018 season of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. Right now, we're going to bring her in. She is wearing a Back to the Future shirt. I am wearing a life preserver because I'm a dork who thinks he's going to drown. But let's welcome in Miss Movies. She was the winner of the free-for-all this season. She is the brains behind the Patreon for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. She is Miss Brianne Chandler. Brianne, how are you?
How am I? I'm doing pretty good. Excited to be back. Excited for our trivia match right now for Back to the Future. That's why I wore this, because obviously we're going against each other right now. So I've been
Brianne,
studying.
we did that. We did that already. That was on Collider Podcast channel. Yeah, we did that. That's where I, kick Frank Janisch's ass.
Next time, I'm going to be a part of that.
Okay. We're gonna have more of those. We're gonna have more. We're gonna have more trivia competitions. So we'll definitely keep you on the loop. Make sure you save the clock tower. Save the date for the next one that we have. But Brianne, tell people about your experience with the Movie Trivia Schmoedown.
My experience with Movie Trivia Schmoedown goes back to season 2. That's when I first got involved. I started writing questions for the show, and that was a lot of work. That was before we kind of had a team leader. And so it was just a lot of people just throwing questions here and there and all these different documents, and no one knew what to do. So I started there in season 2. After that, joined at the end of season 3 with Stacy for 6 Degrees. And then season 4, made my singles debut against Perry. And that brings us to this season, where I have basically been running the Patreon, doing some interviews, and played a team match or 2 this year, and did the free-for-all. So all that good stuff.
Yes, and we got to co-call the Commissioner Bowl this year at the Spectacular, along with Mark Ellis.
Some calling. That's right.
Yes, some calling. Yes.
Some calling. Lots of stuff.
We got to do a lot of calling. Who knows?
I feel like I've been in every single, facet of the show now, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we were talking about baseball movies before we went live, and you are definitely a 5-tool player when it comes to the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. I'm not sure. Do you know the 5-tool? She looks confused.
That's not a bad thing, Brianne. Trust me.
I don't know that reference.
He didn't call you a tool.
5-tool. I'm like the jackknife,
5-tool
right?
player. You know what? It's a Swiss Army knife, but you're close.
There you go. There we go.
Let's go with that next time,
like
Brad.
that.
Now it's almost preordained in the stars that we would have you on here to start off our new season of the Schmoedown Rundown, because a lot of changes occurred. Frank Janisch and I on the old channel, on Collider Podcast, on our Spectacular recap, we got a little hot under the collar toward the end of the show. We were talking about the changes that were coming to the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, moving to Schmoes Know channel, now the Movie Trivia Schmoedown channel. We're talking about some of the dollar tier things, some of the $2 tier. People were a little hot about, what exactly was going on. But I know that you and Christian and all the brains over there at the Movie Trivia Schmoedown was able to put together something I think that everybody can appreciate for this new season. And correct me where I'm wrong, Brianne. If you need to expound on something, please do. Now, on Mondays, if you are a Patreon member at the $2 tier, every Monday, you will get the early release of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, either Teams or Inner Geekdom League. You'll get that on Monday if you're at the $2 tier. If you're at the $1 tier of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Patreon, you will get that same match, either Teams or Inner Geekdom, on Tuesday. Now, if you're not a patron at all, you don't have enough money or whatever the case, or you just don't care enough, you can get matches on Thursday That is teams and Inner Geekdom, and then there will be the singles tournament, the singles league, of course, every Friday on this channel, the Movie Trivia Schmoedown channel. Did I get everything right there, Brianne?
You got pretty much, I would say, 89%, because you have to remember that you still get a lot of other things. You're not just getting those for the $1, the $2. You're also getting the exhibition match that is monthly coming out to you, but you're going to get it 2 weeks after the $10 patrons. You're also getting that audio update from Christian or Thad, although I don't know why Thad would be doing the audio update now. It should probably be someone else.
He's a real loser.
I mean, come on. So then what else are you getting? We have the article that comes out as well. There's a lot of stuff that you're getting.
There's definitely
included.
more. Yeah.
Right. We have the player AMAs that we have been doing. We haven't been able to do those recently because of the fact that we are not actually recording right now. So then we don't have times that we're in studios, but we were doing those live stream AMAs, and you would get access to those as well. So there's a lot of content that you are getting.
What tier is the player commentaries?
Player commentaries. You know what? I'm not sure about that one, and I don't know if that's something that's released to everything. What I do know is that something that's not released to everyone is at the $3 tier, which is the behind-the-scenes video.
Oh, yeah.
Which only goes to those that are $3 and up. So, and I've made all of those, and they're
That's a good tier to have.
It's interesting. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But
Yes, there's a lot, and we encourage everybody to go to patreon.com, check out the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. There are a lot of great things. I'm a patron of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown at the $10 tier because I love the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. Frank Janisch, I don't know, you're a patron, right?
I am.
At what level?
I did the $10,000 level. So
okay,
yeah,
good for you.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to look you guys all up just to make sure.
Oh, now Frank's a liar. He's always been a liar.
I'm at the $1. I'm at the $1.
He's at the $1. He's at the
you can
$1.
do it. You can do it.
Yeah, so obviously I make 10 times as much as Frank Janisch. No, but
might be true.
It could be. You never know. But let's talk about. We've talked about some of the changes, and once again, thank y'all for welcoming us onto this channel. We're excited to bring you new content every single week. Myself, Frank Janisch, Chris Clark, and we'll always have a special guest, Brianne. This is probably her first, but not her last appearance throughout the season. So we're really excited to see. I'm excited for New York, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. My tickets are booked. Can I be honest? My tickets are booked. I got a great deal. Great deal. Me and the lady, we're flying out on United. Nice, cushy round trip ticket. We're gonna go. I'm gonna stay in Times Square. Right. I'm going to the Tonight Show.
In the middle of it. Wow.
I'm going to stay. I'm not in a hotel. I'm actually just on the street.
In the middle, yeah.
I'm going to the Tonight Show. When I'm there, I'm going to Aladdin on Broadway. Disney's Aladdin on Broadway. I'm excited to do that.
It's pretty good. The Genie is really amazing.
I hear great things about the Genie. I hear very good things about the Genie. I can't wait to see it. And now, though, it's going to be the cherry on top of my trip to the Big Apple. Those are two fruit references in one sentence. Will be Saturday because we're going to have that live movie trivia Schmoedown going on. And now, Frank, we know who's going to participate in it. Why don't you let the people know who they're going to see?
Well, the undercard, and this was announced a little later in the season, at the end of the season, Janine the Machine versus Chance Ellison, two rookie players that came into the league in 2018. Janine got all the way up to a triple threat. She was in the triple threat match at Collision for a number one contender spot. Didn't quite come out ahead. She was playing Stacey Howard and Mark Draco, and Draco won that one in a kind of a crazy result. And then the main event is none other than Dan Merle facing off once again in a rematch against Ethan Irwin, who is now the singles league champion. So that's for the belt live in New York. That's going to be one hell of a match.
I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for it. Brianne, talk to me. Now, you know Ethan Irwin. You know Dan Merle. You've seen these players compete live and in person multiple times throughout the 2018 season. We saw them go at it in the singles tournament. We saw them both compete at the Spectacular. If you were a betting woman, which I do not know you to be, but who would you put your money on?
Oh, dear. Whoever's older. So I'm going with Ethan Irwin.
I love that. Yeah.
I mean,
who's older? Who's been around longer?
It's not bad.
Because it helps you, right?
Yeah, it does.
You have more years to watch these movies than the younger one. So there you go.
Sound logic to me. I appreciated Brianne. But you cannot get tickets for that. It is sold out.
Sold out in 3 days.
Sold out in 3 days, in a large part thanks to this show and our due diligence and making sure to get the word out there.
Right.
Now, let's move on because we're just is it next weekend? Not this Saturday. Next Saturday will be the Schmoedown Awards going on at the main room at the Comedy Store. I will not be in attendance, but I think, Frank, will you be there?
Looks like it.
Looks like it. He sounds halfway
That's
confident.
99%.
You're there to accept the award. Thank you.
If we should be so lucky.
If we should be so lucky. Now, I will not be there.
How humble of you.
I will not be there when we win the award. I will not be there. But, Frank Janisch, make sure you give us a good speech. Don't let me down, brother. All right.
I'll call you. I'll call you from the podium.
Yeah, well, I might be. Well, it depends on what time it is. We might be able to make that happen. Yeah. But next Saturday, I will take just 1 second to promote Reality Wrestling, the company that I work with here in Houston, Texas. We have a big event. Booker T is coming out of retirement. He is lacing up the boots. Is going to be facing the Reality Wrestling champion, Rex Andrews, on pay-per-view. You can find out more information at realitywrestling.com. That's where I will be, why I will not be at the awards. But there are a lot of awards to get through. There are a lot of things like Moment of the Year, Entrance of the Year, Babyface Team of the Year, Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, all these of the years. So we thought for the next couple of weeks, before the matches get back in shape every week, we're going to break down some of our favorite moments, our top fives, our top tens. And we have 2 top 5 lists, which collectively will be a top 10 list, but 2 top 5 lists that we're going to break down. And I am going to go around the panel. I'm going to be the moderator here. And we're going to go to Frank. We're going to go to Brianne. We're going to go to Chris. And we're going to talk about 2 things. One, our top 5 entrances of the year. Very good that we have Brianne Chandler on here. She is definitely known for her entrances. And we're also going to talk about top 5 moments of the year. This is how it's going to go. I'm going to go to each of my compatriots here one at a time. I'm going to start with their 5 and 4. For best entrance is where we're starting. We're going to start at 5 and 4, and then we'll go all around for 3, all around for 2, and then get to number 1. And we're going to see who had the best entrance this year in 2018, a year stacked with, I think, a lot of memorable and very fun entrances, probably more than any other year prior. So it's going to be a hard category for them to break down. And then I want you watching, you commenting, you listening on the feed, on the podcast feed through Podcast One. I want you all to tweet us at SD Rundown or Instagram, Facebook, Schmoedown Rundown. Go and tell us who you thought your top 5 entrances and moments are. So we're going to start here. I'm going to get right into it. I'm not going to waste any more time. We're going to start right now with our guest, Miss Brianne Chandler. We're going to go to her first. And I want to know, because she is the entrance queen. Can I say queen? Is that appropriate? Entrance queen? Would you accept that? Entrance royalty. We'll say entrance royalty. Because you are entrance royalty. Okay. First, before I get your 4 and 5 or your 5 and 4, I want to know, what do you think makes a great entrance?
What makes a great entrance is someone that actually took some time to think about it, and maybe even come up with a scene or something that has some sort of a theme. I really appreciate just someone that you can tell they did more than just roll out of bed and come to the show that day. I won't name names for that one, but anyways, I do, before we do this though, I do want to say hey to some people in the chat, like Allison and Nico and
Nico. Oh, that guy.
Matt Movies. No, I don't have a MySpace, but anyways, I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm checking out the chat here. So if they have something to say, I'm gonna let you all know as well. But did you want my number 5, or you just wanted to know what makes a good entrance?
I wanted to know what makes a good entrance, and now I want your 5 first. Give me your 5. What's your 5th best entrance of the year?
My 5th best entrance, because since I cannot vote for myself for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I'm gonna go with Stacey Howard as Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what I liked about Stacey Howard as Edward Scissorhands. She had that little moment with Jay where she's trying to get the cup to take a drink of water, but she can't. And I just love little things like that, little details that people do to their entrances to make it fun.
Yes, I was worried a little bit about Stacey Howard in the Edward Scissorhand persona, how she was going to be able to write on the board. I thought that was going to have a little bit of a challenge for her. And it proved to be somewhat of a challenge, but she made it through. That's a great number 5. And you and Stacy, when y'all would put together entrances, who would y'all just be like a little group text back and forth thinking of different things, or would you come to her and say, have an idea we could do, for instance, say Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Edward Scissorhands, how could we play off each other? What was your mindset? How would y'all put together your entrance?
When we would do it, so the first time that we did a match against the Wangers, rest in peace, we did like kind of a Matrix thing, and it wasn't too big of a deal. We just kind of did this, and then after that, we went out to dinner, and then we like brainstormed all these other types of entrances that we can do. The follow-up one to that was that we came out wearing the Wangers shirts, and on the back it said #musicals, because that's what took them down, because they didn't know their musicals. And had they known their musicals, they would have won.
Yeah.
End of story.
I like it.
You know what? Now let's just go one at a time. Let me go to Chris Clark. Chris Clark, what is your 5th best entrance of the 2018 Movie Trivia Schmoedown season? We already heard from Brianne, Edward Scissorhand, Stacey Howard. That was a great entrance. What's your number 5?
I would have to say it was a really tough decision because there were 2 great critically acclaimed entrances. There's the one with the 3D glasses that I really felt was really creative, even though it probably didn't work. It didn't work.
Actually?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
It didn't really work that well, but I felt like the MODOK critically acclaimed Bill and Ted entrance, where they pretty much did the exact same thing, killed it entirely. I think the MODOK entrance was both creative because I don't think until that point a team had an entrance that was the same exact thing back to back, and I felt like that was really creative for that moment. And that match itself was fantastic, and I felt like the Bill and Ted entrance really, really glorified that and showed how theatrical all 4 of them, Matt Atchity, Gray Drake, William Bibiani, and Whitney Seibold, really are.
You know what? That is a good one. I forgot. That one wasn't when I was thinking about what were my top 5, top 10 for me personally. I forgot about that one. I really did enjoy that. That was a funny one. I enjoyed it. Let's go to you, Frank. Frank, what is your number 5 for best entrance of the year?
My number 5. Well, I got to say the Stacey Howard Edward Scissorhands. It did not make my top 5, but it was. No, it didn't. But
Completely
it made my top 5 singles entrances for the nominations. So I will say that didn't make this.
I don't know if you're supposed to say that, Frank. Don't let the cat out of the bag here.
Come on. That's all right.
Come on.
Number
Movies,
5
dog, behind the scenes.
Number 5 is
Stacey Howard Clueless.
Shirewolf's Thor entrance. That's my number 5.
Why did you like that one?
Because the costumes, for one, were pretty elaborate. I thought they both, Rachel and Clark, looked great in their get-ups, and there was a little special effects with Clark coming up there with the lightning. I thought that was really cool, and I just enjoyed the elaborate costumes there, and they looked really good. It looked really good. So that one hits my number 5.
Okay, I don't know if I agree with you on that. I don't know if that would make my personal list. That one, I liked it. I didn't love it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Liked it, didn't love it. It would have been like 7 on mine.
Well, make a list and we'll find out.
Well, you know what? I am the moderator, and I am the person who's not supposed to gain any heat.
Right.
It's y'all who's on the heat seat for this one.
That's what happened here. Okay.
So we have Stacey Howard. We have the dual entrance for Bill and Ted. We have the Thor entrance for the Shire Wolves. Now let's go back to Brianne Chandler for your number 4.
Number 4. My number 4 is Janine as Misty Knight. I really liked her Misty Knight entrance. I thought her cosplay was on point. And Misty, anyways, I'm thinking of a ballerina called Misty Knight now. Anyways, so that's not her name, Misty Copeland. Anyways,
yeah.
Because Misty on point.
That one I
anyway,
guess.
that's where my
gotcha.
thought goes. Misty on point. So anyway, I like that she punched the camera as well, and they had that special effect with her. Her arm looked pretty incredible, and that was just like a cool sleeve thing that looked robotic, and I really liked that. Jay had his coffee.
Yeah. She was very good throughout the year, and that was one of the new, I think, entries who understood character and entrance, which is something that some people think it's just a movie trivia show. I just got to go out there and answer questions really well. You know, and it's people like Janine who come in as a rookie, who, by the way, has some great stuff on triviasd.com, which Frank, you're a contributor to. I really enjoy reading Janine's stuff that she writes on there. But she understood
Mondays.
it. She understood it. As soon as I saw her the first time, I'm like, oh yeah, right there. I like that. That's good. She's good. I appreciate it. A lot of times you can just see it. You can just see it as soon as they walk through the curtain. You're like, oh, you understand. I like this.
And
so
didn't
Janine,
I forget the actress's name? I think she liked or retweeted Janine's picture of the Get Up.
Right.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's definitely awesome, and that's the thing about these entrances. A lot of time they catch the eyes of people who don't even see the show, you know, on a regular basis. But because the entrance was so impressive, it might get some retweets on Twitter and some different looks from some different eyeballs. Let's go to Chris Clark. Chris Clark, you're over there typing away. You look very furious. You look very upset. You're like, I can't believe it. Damn it! It's taken them so long to get to my number 4. I'm about to pull my hair out. Which, by the way, before we get to your number 4, I'm gonna make you wait a little bit longer.
Wow.
I got some beef here with Chris Clark, and I don't know if he knows that I have beef with him, but I do have beef with Chris Clark. So, Brianne, I'm going to talk to you because I don't care about these other two. I am like a very magnanimous man, you know. Especially in the holiday season. I like to give stuff out. You know what I mean? I like the gifts. I'm a big gift giver. I'm Oprah. You get a gift, they all get a gift.
Brad's favorite things.
I do have an Amazon list. So I was perusing through my favorite app, which is Amazon.com, and I was like, you know what? I'm in a giving spirit. I got these two guys' addresses. I'm just gonna send them a little something. Boom, shoot them some small stocking stuffer-esque gift type thing. But I'm gonna shoot them something for Christmas. Give them a little note. You know, appreciate you. Let's rock next year. No, Chris, don't say a word. I don't want to hear any words from you. I don't want to hear a word from you. So, you know, I do it. Boom, send it out. I get the notifications. They've been delivered. I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe around Christmas I'll hear from them, something like that. Just a little quick. I'll even take a little DM. I don't even need like a personal text line. Just hit me in the DMs. Hey, I appreciate it, you know? And I don't remember the date per se, but I remember, you know, Frank, I actually got him something Back to the Future related. You know, I know he and I both share that passion, as do you, from your T-shirt. So he said, he sent me something. He gave me a text, which is it's a nice thing to get a text from, you know. He's like, hey, man, appreciate it, you know. Very brotherly, very like, hey, I'm not going to get too sappy friend tip, but I'm going to, you know, let you know, I see you, right? I'm aware. I appreciate it. I appreciated that from Frank.
I gave him
wait.
appreciation.
I think I know where you're going, but I have a question for you.
Yes.
I know it says delivered. That doesn't mean that the person got it. Did you think maybe this person didn't get it?
That is true. So that's why I was like, you know what? You know, it's the 20. Yeah, I think it got there like the 23rd or something. I'm like, so.
Maybe he was on vacation.
By New Year's Eve,
out of town.
I'm gonna hear something, and it's not a large gift. I'm not expecting a fruit basket or an edible arrangement delivered to my door, but just a small bit of acknowledgement. Oh, Chris, shut the hell up! Don't say a word. So it's delivered to the 23rd. I'm like, all right, 24th, 25th, they're with family. 26th, you're trying to recover from the holiday that was. You're sleeping most of the day, playing with some new gadgets. 27th, you're about 50 to 75% back. By the 28th, I should hear something. 28th comes, 29th comes, 31st. Now we're in a whole new year, and it's the January the 4th. The 4th.
You are the John Steinbeck of these stories. Yeah. Of the rundown. John Steinbeck of the rundown. Are we getting there?
I don't get the reference, but I appreciate it.
So anyway, it's January the 4th, and I still haven't heard from this person, and I'm putting him on the spot. I know that Chris Clark, our great friend in Pennsylvania, loves nothing more than the poster that's above his left shoulder right now. If you look at the frame, there's a King Kong poster right there. So when I was like just perusing, I was like, oh, I saw some little thing from King Kong. I think it was a little like a flip book. It looked cool. It has some good reviews. People enjoyed it. I was like, oh, it's like a nice little thing to put on your desk and look at every once in a while. Small gift. Sent it to him. Never heard a word from it. So Chris, by the way, you're goddamn welcome.
Well, actually, I have a story about this. I got it. I got it. but I didn't know it was from me because there was no note. It just
There's
was.
that too. Yes, sometimes you get stuff from Amazon.
There was no note?
and You're like,
I got
"What?"
a note. I got the package and I opened it up and it was a flip book of King Kong. And I didn't know you knew I liked King Kong. So I messaged everybody in Take 3 who knew I loved King Kong. They didn't know. I messaged a couple people on Facebook. They didn't know. And I just thought it was a secret admirer that was like a fan or something. That's just
That just stalked you with your address?
I had no idea it was you, Brad, but thank you so much.
Aw. You should have put like a public post on Facebook that said, "I got this. Can someone tell me?"
I didn't want people
Like,
thinking that I was.
We're gonna need a screenshot to confirm that you asked people.
Yeah.
No, it was great. It's a little flip book of Kong on the Empire State Building. It was adorable. It just didn't come with a note, and I was like, oh, that's weird. But now it's adorable. Thank you.
I don't think I would have known it was from Brad if it wasn't Back to the Future related, to tell you the truth.
No,
it might take me a minute, but because you've sent me some stuff before.
Well, I didn't even think
think
it was Brad, but then I realized now that he said it, Brad's the only one with my address.
Yeah. I have your address, Chris. Not a secret admirer who
You know what?
stalks you.
We don't have Brad's address. I think so.
Oh, that is true. You don't have my address, and it's gonna stay that way, brother.
Because that's what I thought. I was like, when I got, I was like, this son of a. I don't even have his address. Now you make me feel kind of crappy. So
That's
Just
my
go
point.
onto
My
his
point is,
Amazon wish list and get him something from there.
there you go.
You don't have to have his address.
I didn't know he had a wish list.
He didn't have a wish list. Everyone does have a wish list. My close personal friends know. But anyway, to circle back to this is January the 4th, and I do want number 4.
My number 4 is actually, it was between two things from Free for All 2. Because we were there, Frank. I felt like the obvious choice would be the Merle guy reveal thing, but Brianne I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I grew up with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That entire series means a lot to me, and I like Brianne. I think Brianne's entrance of Buffy with her killing Aaliyah and all the belts was amazing. So I think Brianne's Buffy the Vampire Slayer entrance is my number 4. Again, I apologize,
All right.
Brad.
It's okay. I won't hold it against you for much longer. Let's go to Frank Janisch. Frank Janisch, you're number 4.
My number 4 is, wait, I know this from the live event, the Jurassic Park with, you had, I think it was John and Greg coming down in those, allegedly John and Greg.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you don't know. Came down, in those T-Rex suits, and he had Winston and Stacy there. I thought this still would have cracked, whether it was at a live event or not. But the fact that it was at a live event, there's so much room to play with it and draw it out. I really loved the whole atmosphere with the live event and this entrance. It was really great, and definitely one of the best of the year.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes too, you forget those live to think about the live events when you're going through your mind and thinking about the best entrances. For some reason, those live events they don't come to the top of my head immediately. Let's go to Brianne here because I think we have a solid list from everybody so far. But this is the nitty gritty. We're getting into the top 3 out of all the matches, out of all the moments, out of all the entrances that we saw. These are our top 3 entrances from each competitor. So Brianne, I go to your number 3.
Yes. Well, Frank just said it. It's wait, I know this for Jurassic Park because who does not like inflatable dinosaurs? It's like the best thing ever. The fact that it's real rejects inside there makes it even more hilarious. And I just really appreciated that. The only thing about a live event is that you can't necessarily see everything. Like, you can't see it well when you're watching it back, like as a viewer that's watching it rather than being there. So that's the one unfortunate part, is that it doesn't come off like when they are coming down. You can't really tell exactly what's happening. So
I will say that it is the best entrance for a live event. I'll say that.
Oh,
live events. It is.
Some shots here.
Well, Fight Club was pretty good too.
I did like that one, but
yeah,
I still
I'd say real rejects with their Fergie doing the national anthem and Greg with his 6-pack that he drew on himself.
It's true.
I mean, those are them doing their promo before that, where they're like rapping.
The promo is phenomenal.
We need a best promo category sometime.
Oh, there would be a lot of spicy ones, and a lot of them would involve John Roca.
True.
So that's your number 3. Y'all have the same number 4 and number 3. So then let's go to Chris Clark again. Chris Clark, let's go back to you. What's your number 3? Top 3. This is getting into the nitty gritty. I put D's in that, not T's. I know that.
Well, nothing is better than a man in drag. So my number 3 is Charlie's Angels and Draco. Well, that came out wrong. But Charlie's Angels, Mark Andreyko, and I think it was Clark Wolf and Rachel Cushing. That whole entrance for Wolf versus Kalinowski, I felt that was hilarious. And I mean, the big takeaway was the funniness of Mark. He was dressed as one of the Charlie's Angels, and that whole effect of the Charlie's Angels. I thought that
you know what? Someone actually came up with that one.
Who?
Someone came up with that one.
Wow, I guess we'll never know.
But yeah,
that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say.
Wow.
So I'm proud. I'm proud another one of my entrances has made it.
Hey, there you go.
The Charlie's Angels one was hilarious though, and I laughed my ass off. So yeah, the Charlie's Angels one is my number 3.
Longfellow couldn't have said it better himself. Let's go to Frank Janisch. Frank Janisch, what is your number 3?
My number 3, keeping with the theme of Brianne, is actually her Buffy the Vampire Slayer one.
Hey,
I really love that one. It was very well orchestrated, very choreographed rather, and I mean, it speaks for itself when you watch it. It's very elaborate. One of the more elaborate. I mean, well, not elaborate, but very well thought out, as Brianne talked about earlier. So that one, I mean,
getting that cosplay in itself is quite the feat, because you can't just buy that. You can't just buy that outfit. Like, I had someone design the actual H with the megaphone behind it. Joe Shendango did that, and then I had to get like a seamstress to actually make it come to life and like do all the stuff. So it's a team that put that outfit together.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty crazy if you think about it that way.
It was phenomenally done, and this is what I like. Obviously, I've talked about it on the show a lot, and for those of you who tune in for the first time, I plugged it a minute ago. I come from the wrestling business, which is like 90% of the pageantry is the entrance. And these guys, they don't come out as cosplayers. They have to have their costumes designed and by a seamstress sewn together. So I always appreciate when people go the extra mile to put more into the entrance. And the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, if I were to be interjecting myself and making a list, might be in my top 3, and it's not 3. I'm just putting that out there. But,
thanks, but it's not 1.
Top 2, but it's not 2. No. Let's
I know
go
where it
now
falls.
back.
It's okay.
It's top 3, but it's not 3. But now let's go to you with your top 2. What's number 2 for Brianne Chandler?
I was fortunate to be a part of this entrance, which is Bibiani's Clue entrance.
Yes.
I really appreciated that, and mainly because Clue was my favorite movie growing up. Like, as a kid, like, it was always number 1 on my list until I got older and realized.
Number 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1, or
1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. 1 plus 2 plus 1.
Just want to make sure I got that right. Communism is a red herring. I thought that out.
So yeah, it was on my list as a kid, and so I just thought, when he told me his concept, I just started laughing and thinking, like, that's brilliant. I love it.
I love that movie more than most people. It's my second favorite Christopher Lloyd movie that came out in 1985, but it is very high up on my list. Now, have you ever played Clue?
Yes, I've played Clue.
Very
I've also
difficult
played
game.
the video one. Have you ever played that one where you put a videotape in and you have to like follow along the story? That one's nuts, and it's hard.
No, I want to find that.
I would not recommend it.
A lot of our younger audience said videotape.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
What?
What?
VHS?
Yes. Do you know, though, in the new version of Clue, I bought Clue. I said, I'm going to play this with my nephews. I've never played Clue the board game. I've always loved it. I said, let's play it with the nephews. Let's figure it out. There is no more Mrs. White. Mrs. White is off the list. They've bumped her. She is no longer a part of Clue. The new entry is Dr. Orchid. Dr. Orchid is the newest Clue member. Yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm always more of a Professor Plum guy myself.
But let's go now
Mrs. White always looked like the maid, though, like in the game piece. I think she was the maid. So
yeah,
did they get rid of the maid?
I don't know. Yvette was the maid in the movie.
Yeah, but like in the movie.
Big fan.
I also love that one guy's name is Lee Ving. Like, his name is Lee Ving.
There you go.
Mr. Body.
I am your singing telegram. Chris Clark, let's go to your number 2.
My number 2 would actually be from Spectacular 3. I felt like the entrance with the women of the Schmoedown with the Shire Wolves was some empowering shit right there. That was really well, yeah. It was really cool. It was really nice and empowering.
What better way to describe a beautiful moment? That was some powerful shit right there.
You're gonna see some serious shit.
Yeah.
And this baby hits 88 miles per hour.
You had Mara make appearance, Janine. You had Rachel Silvestrini. I think
Great Drake.
Great Drake was there as well.
Tinkerbell, as Ellis called her.
Yeah.
Tinkerbell. Yeah, you had all the magical women of the league. So I felt that was really, really awesome, and it kicked ass, and it gave them that motivation and that kind of atmosphere. An entrance also has to give you your atmosphere for your stage, and nothing is more important in a rock show than your opening number. Nothing is more important than how your entrance goes down and what mindset you're in, and I think that helped them get the second win and defended the belt. So I felt like that entrance is a keeper.
A real keeper. I you know what? If I were to have a list, I don't have a list, but if I were to have a list, that'd be top 2, and it's not 2. Let's go back to Frank Janisch. Frank Janisch, your number 2.
My number 2 is, I don't know if this is gonna make any. I don't think this is gonna make anyone's list. We're all the way up here now. It is. It's Tate the Cannoli, the Logan entrance with Brianne and Drew McWeeny. Now, the reason why I like this one so much is because it's fairly simple, and it actually really works, given the fact that we saw Drew McWeeny explode when they defended the belt. So you could see like he had that rage. So when he's Logan, and then you have Brianne as X-23, it just made sense to me when I saw it. I go, this is absolutely on point. Totally makes sense to me. It was simple but effective, and I loved it. That's my number 2.
Solid number 2. Solid number 2. Take the Cannoli, another great name, by the way, for a team. Always liked the name. I just found out that I knew somebody
in Logan. One of the people that Hugh Jackman kills. I knew him, and I didn't know that he was in the movie. Saw the movie, had no idea.
Like in the beginning, like that scene, or like somebody else later on?
Later. Bald white dude, jacked.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Extra?
Luke Hawks, he's a pro wrestler. Yeah, extra. No speaking lines. They wouldn't trust him with that. I'm just kidding with you. Let's go. Now we're here. Now we are here.
We have made it.
Number 1. The number 1 entrance of the year for the 3 competitors. Are they going to have the same entrance? I don't think so. I think they're going to have 3 different ones. But we're going to see if I'm right.
We're going to start with entrance royalty with Miss Brianne Chandler. What is your number 1? The greatest entrance from the year of great entrances. What's your number 1?
It's going to come as no surprise, obviously. I'm picking Shire Wolves from Spectacular. I really appreciated the chance to be a part of that entrance, and I just liked how it came together, just like the week of, pretty much, with an email that was like, hey, we have this concept. Do you guys want to do it? What do you have? And there's an article on Trivia SD about like bringing it all together, and it just felt like, hey, we're a team on all this. Like, let's get this done. Let's do this and make it fun. So I really appreciated it.
A great cherry on top, not to use that phrase again, but to a season to where women were probably the lifeblood of the league and setting records and winning championships for the first time in the league's history. No better way to have, at the Spectacular for that. And that really was my entrance of the year. If I was doing a real list, that would have been my entrance of the year. So we have the same entrance, Brianne. But Chris Clark, what's your number 1?
Well, I mean, at least that was my second favorite. My personal favorite, though, has to be Mystery Science Theater 3000, the Bibiani entrance against Andraco for the championship. I felt like that. I'm a huge MST3K fan, and this entrance was also the entrance that won Bibbs the belt.
Brad doing the math.
Yeah, I'm not gonna act like I'm not biased. Yeah, I really like this entrance a lot though, and I felt like it was really long. It was the Bohemian Rhapsody of the Schmoedown entrances, but at the end of the day, what's really entertaining, no matter how long it goes, as long as it doesn't feel like it's going on forever, it's a good entrance. And Viviani has a lot of genius up there, and I felt like that was the best one, an example of it.
In 2019, Chris Clark's number one was a William the Beast Bibiani entrance.
I don't.
The more things change,
What is going on?
the more they stay the same. Frank Janisch, we've heard it. She says, Brianne says Shire Wolves at the Spectacular. That's her number one entrance. It was mine as well. Chris Clark said William the Beast Bibiani, which was definitely on my list somewhere. Let's go to you, Frank Janisch. What was your number one entrance of 2018?
So everyone should know that I'm a Shire Wolves mark through and through, right?
Yes.
But
Points for using the word mark. Continue.
I learned that from you, big guy. Well, and
Yes.
Aaron too. But it did the Run the World one did not make my top 5 list here. It actually the Bibiani multiple entrances one where he first comes out with Roka, another horseman reveal. That actually really just got me, and I think it fooled a lot of people. And then it just kept going with these different entrances, and I thought it was a pretty brilliant concept and a kind of a commentary on like the matches in or entrances in the Schmoedown. You have all these different variations, and then just really playing with the audience there. And I really appreciated the thought process behind that one and the execution as well. And it looks like Brianne might have something to do with that one. I don't know, maybe, perhaps. No.
I know that it was mentioned, but can I throw out, and I just want to get everyone's reaction to it, because I think, Chris, you brought it up earlier. Andrew Guy coming out as Dan Murrell at the free-for-all. How did this not make more people's lists?
Because he just walked out.
What did he do?
Yeah.
What did he do?
What did he do?
He shouted and
He had everybody.
Oh,
hey, Frank. First of all,
where's your list?
I invite you to politely shut the hell up. But second of all, it was one of those moments
If
to where
he
you
had
heard
dressed like Dan Murrell, I would have been with you. But
that would have ruined it.
No,
that would have ruined it. If he dressed like Dan Murrell, that would have ruined it.
Nope.
Here's the thing. This is what I got to say.
I disagree.
Sometimes, to quote the great wrestling writer of the Attitude Era, Vincent Russo, he said, "It's all about the swerve, bro." And I enjoyed the swerve here. I enjoyed the swerve. We all thought we were getting Dan. The crowd was getting hyped. The viewers at home, if you watched Late to the Party, you watched the reactors. They were all excited. We're getting Dan Murrell. When I was watching, I was like, oh, Dan Murrell's coming out? I didn't know he's coming back. And then Andrew Guy comes back from suspension. Storyline, it's great. Character-wise, it's great.
Of course, that's the reason. It's a storyline. It's not an entrance.
Yeah.
It was an entrance. He entered.
I mean,
it's a storyline. It's a scripted piece. That's probably why. That's why I didn't put it on my list.
Had Dan Murrell actually walked out, I might have considered it. That would have been a hell of a comeback.
Oh, shut the hell up again. Had Dan Murrell just walked out, I would have been
right, because no one's expecting. That would have been a hell of an entrance. You never know. What if he dressed up like Andrew Guy? That would have been even funnier. Yeah, but in a suit with a cane and all that. Yeah.
I can't wait. Let's do that this season.
Yeah, I think y'all should give a little bit more.
But he didn't even make your
guy.
list, Brad, because you don't have a list. So
I don't have a list.
Who are you to talk?
If I had a list,
yeah,
he'd be top one, but he's not one.
Oh my god.
Shire Wolves were one.
Yes, they were one. They were
and
one.
I'm two.
Yes.
So he's got to be 3 then.
He's floating in the top 5.
Oh wow! Look at this.
Okay.
Somewhere. He's floating in the top 5. Well, that is y'all's top 5 list of the year. What is your number one entrance of the year? Am I right? Is Andrew Guy, should he be number 1? Should he be on the list? I don't know. Was it an entrance? Was it a storyline? Why don't y'all comment here below? Jump in the live feed. I'm sure we have a lot of people. Frank, why don't you read a couple people's reactions? What do people have as number 1 in the chat?
Okay, cool guy. Number 1, Andrew Guy for his Dan Murrell entrance for a free.
Hey, see?
Read
see,
that
cool
wrong.
Guy.
That's not right.
Salute.
I'm just gonna bypass that one.
Salute. I think y'all are crapping on Andrew Guy for no reason.
He walked out.
I just told you it's a storyline.
So would it count as a moment more than an entrance?
Does a storyline count as a moment? I thought a moment was like something that is spontaneous.
A singular no, a moment's just something that happened.
Well, it's your
moment.
own interpretation of what a moment could be, because your definition
right.
of a moment could be different.
Nice. Look at mine. Look at me. Okay.
Moment is in the eye of the beholder. I think that's a thing. Well, let's get into
Great Twilight Zone episode. Thank you.
Ooh, mamacita. Let's get into these moments here. Moments, singular. One thing that happened that stuck out to you. Last year, we all said it, Mark Andraco. That was a moment. I think, once again, the same for entrances. There were more moments this year than any year prior. More memorable moments this year than any year prior. I have several. I'm not going to reveal them to you because I hold my cards close to the vest. But we're going to go through the panelists once again. I'm going to go in reverse order to spice things up a little bit. We're going to start with Frank Janisch when it comes to moments of the year. So, Frank, before you give me your number 5, first, to you, what makes a great moment?
What makes a great moment? I think when I look at my list, things that really kind of just stick with you, that really stick in your head, no matter what happens, because it's a long year. And if something happened in the beginning of the year, especially, that sticks with you, I think something that perhaps changes the course of the league, the storylines, perhaps. I think those are significant moments to take note of. I think something along those lines, that's what would constitute a great moment for me.
All right, so with your definition of what a great moment is, let's hear your number 5.
Yeah, this one definitely affects the future of these two individuals, and that would be Andrew Guy tackling Ben Bateman after the Shirewolves, Who's the Boss loss or losing to Shirewolves. That tackle is number 5 for me. Now, had this happened last year, the tackle last year was like obviously number 1 or number 2 moments for you back last year when Andrew Guy did it. But because we've seen it before, it kind of loses its luster. But the impact it has on team action going forward, or lack of team action now, I think that's what makes it a little bit more significant to crack my top 5 of the year.
Wow. Number 5 for that moment.
Yeah.
By the way, if Andrew Guy's not all over this list for everybody, I don't know what's going on. I've just lost sight. My finger is no longer on the pulse of the movie.
You could have made an argument if you made a list.
I will. I'll make arguments. I'll do my top 3. How about that?
Okay. Kind of you to join us.
Yes. Chris Clark, what's your number 5 moment of the year?
Well, I mean, I'm on the spectrum that a moment should not necessarily be like something that's scripted. I feel like the things that like XX5XX, you can't really plan that. That's something that just happens spontaneously. We use that word a lot, yeah. So it's a spontaneous kind of thing, a magic kind of thing. And I actually think I said the outcome of Free for All 2 as my number 5 moment of the year because A, Bibbs lasted 22 rounds. Ethan Irwin lasted 11. The same amount as Dan Merlin, never got eliminated either. Brianne won the Free for All 2. The outcome of Free for All 2 I have as my 5th moment. I hope that makes sense as a moment.
Yeah.
Just because look, like Bibbs and Ethan Irwin were standing there and sitting there for about, I think Frank would say next to me, we clocked the show at 4 hours. They came in around an hour 20 into it. They were there for like 3 hours, like just sitting there answering questions nonstop with like a 15-minute break. So I think the stamina displayed there, along with the surprise win by Brianne, just makes that whole thing just spontaneous. And you get all of that in that last round because you're revealed of how many rounds those guys actually lasted. So, and that's something you can't.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have thought that would have been a moment on anyone's list, but I do appreciate it. I like that. I like that you went somewhere different with it. Now, Brianne, let's go to your number 5. What's your number 5 moment of the 2018 season?
My number 5 moment of the 2018 season is when Mara wins the Inner Geekdom belt at the live show. And I have this on there because it's the first woman to win a single title on her own. And so I thought that's pretty spectacular. And I liked that it was at a live event.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of good energy in the room. So
yeah,
nice.
That was a great moment. That was a great moment this year. One of those memorable ones that stick out. And once again, a great year for women in the movie trivia Schmoedown. So let's go back to Frank Janisch. Frank Janisch, you're number 4.
My number 4 comes from Spectacular 3, a moment in Spectacular 3, and that's when we get the Sam Levine speed round question, which neither Roka or Erwin neglect to answer.
Yes.
That one, bravo on inserting that question and seeing what would happen with that. I don't know if you would call that scripted or not, but the fact that both of them didn't even answer, I think only adds to the fact it heightened that moment for me. And you get Sam up there making a little cameo, if you will. So that one definitely is. It's actually going to be probably one of, let's say, top 15 moments of all time in my estimation.
Top 15 of all time?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it means it's number 15. It means number 15.
It means it's last. That's what I do love. When they're oh,
tackle is way worse.
yeah, Jimmy Butler, he's a great player. He's top 40 in the league. It's like, okay, so he's 40. 40. So you're gonna tell me. Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, I like it. Now let's go to Chris. Chris, what's your number 4?
Now, this would have been easily the number 1 had the outcome been different by one letter in a name. But I have, again, a moment where it's everybody falling flat on their face at the end of the Commissioner Bowl, answering every single question wrong until Emma finally wins in sudden death.
Goodness.
But being there live, we were all saying, had Tom actually stayed in the game, he would have won by default because everybody just fell flat on their face. And it was hilarious to watch that live. And I feel like that's against something you can't necessarily script. And that actually beat out the Horseman reveal for me on my list, because that was just because being there live for that moment was just as cool, except that was not scripted and it was kind of just like, what the hell is going on? So it's everybody falling flat on their face at the end of the Commissioner Bowl.
I'll tell you what I love about Chris Clark's list so far. It's not a layman's list. It's not for a casual viewer. This is a hardcore viewer of the show. And I'm being serious when I say this. There's a hardcore viewer of the show that looks for different moments that stuck out to him as somebody who obsesses over this like we all do on a weekly basis. I do like your list so far a lot, Chris. Brianne, you're number 4.
I do too. My number 4 is when Sam Levine decides to hang up the belt and retires. And I feel this is a true retirement. I really do. So, and having that whole little press conference of I've done what I have come here to do, and now I'm going to take more of a managerial position. I'm not quite sure if that's what he's doing, but who knows? Behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So
that was a big moment because I'm one of these people. And I don't think I'm breaking a fourth wall here, but the matches are shot in advance. They're having to be edited like any television show would be. So if you want to know what's going to happen, if you're on the inside loop, you can ask a couple people, hey, what happened? Hey, what happened? At this taping, what happened at that taping? I'm one of those old school guys. I like to see it as they come out. I don't want spoilers. I don't want to be rude. I want to watch the match. I don't want to know the outcome. I was teased by Christian when that moment happened. He was like, hey, Tuesday, you're not going to believe what happens. And so my mind starts going through like everything I could think of. And then I had no idea that it was going to be Sam Levine retiring. That was a big moment. I like it.
I have a funny story about that as well. It was I was there for a taping, and Christian's talking to like a group of like 6 or 5 people, I think. I don't know, Chris, were you there maybe? I feel like maybe. Anyways.
What thing?
So Christian goes, you want to know what's happening on... Yeah. He's like, do you want to know what's happening on
talking to
Tuesday?
Me? Did you send it to me? I think a secret admirer sent me a gift.
Yeah.
Because everyone has my address publicly. What did you say? What are you talking about? What's 65 people?
At the end of the taping, Christian's talking about 5 or 6 people, and I stroll up there, and he goes, he tells me what's going to happen on Tuesday, and Sam Levine retire. He tells me right in front of everybody, but he doesn't let them hear, and I'm like, and he's like, you can't say anything. I'm like, these people just saw you tell me something that I can't say. Like, what are you doing to me, man? Like, so I think PJ was there and Sarah probably. I can't really remember who else was there, but they're just looking at me. I'm like, I can't say. I can't.
Can't say.
I
Sworn
can't
to
say.
secrecy.
Yeah.
But one thing that you can say is your number 3 moment of the year. Frank Janisch, what's your number 3?
Number 3.
Good segue.
You like
My
it?
number 3.
I do this.
This might be a little relatively low, I guess you could say. Charles winning the team title belt for the against Sick in the Head against Brianne and Brian.
Number 3.
That's number 3 for me. It's an important moment in
Yes.
Schmoedown history. Obviously, the way in which they won, it was the best title performance ever by a team in a team title match. Just all around dominant in every sense of the word. Their whole run was pretty dominant, and it just really culminated here in this match. And given the fact that they were the first women team to win belts, the second and third were the second women basically to win any sort of title in the Schmoedown. Very important. So it does. I can see it being higher in other people's lists, but it's number 3 for me.
All right. Number 3. Solid number 3. Chris Clark, back to you. You're number 3.
Well, this is the only scripted thing on my list. And it actually, throughout this entire season, I was wondering where this guy was, why he wasn't in any matches. I needed him back into the Schmoedown
Okay, we know. I already figured it out.
as possible.
Oh, you cracked that code?
Let the man speak.
Yeah. It made me hungry for a meatball sandwich. That's what sure did. It was the ending credit scene for Spectacular 3, the reveal that Robert Meyer Burnett did indeed steal Finstock's mask. And you know what? Yeah, it might look like strong bias on my part, but the reveal was really well shot. They literally were burning something in a tar canister, and you saw the smoke, and he was laughing through the smoke. It was really good cinematography for the show, and I felt like the build up to it during the entire 6-hour epic was kind of really well done for the storytelling aspect of it. So I felt like the way they kind of did it and moved it along through the entire show and made it kind of memorable. They nailed the head on that. They nailed the head on the nail, whatever the term is.
They hit the nail on the head.
Hit the nail on the head.
On the head.
And R&B's return is going to be glorious in 2019. So.
Look, I gotta say, there's no way in hell anyone at home could have called that coming. There's no way in hell.
Okay, wait. So this means Bibiani winning the title has got to be number 1 for you.
Well, hold on.
We're gonna find out.
Number 2. It could be number 2.
Oh, okay.
I will say this.
3, right? That was just
We were all there, the taping for the Spectacular.
Yeah.
I saw Robert Meyer Burnett at the taping, didn't know he was involved. So when I watched the show like everybody else did, I was like, who the hell stole Finstock's mask? I had no idea who it was. I didn't know. And so I was like, I got to see who it was. So the payoff was very well done. I agree with Chris Clark.
Yes.
So Brianne Chandler, you're number 3. Yes. What's your number 3?
One thing I want to say about that last part is that I really appreciate the way that he looks, Robert Meyer Burnett, at the end there, because it reminds me of Pete in Mickey's Christmas Carol when he's like the Grim Reaper at the end and he's like laughing with his big cigar in his mouth.
Yeah, he just
It's
Anyways.
a great evil moment. Yeah.
All right, my third is when Andrew Guy TKO's Dan.
Yes.
That is my third moment. Being there was incredible. I cannot tell you that room exploded. Like, could not believe. No one thought that this was going to be happening.
and look, it's not even the. It's not just the fact that it happened. It's the way in which it happened. Oh, I can't even. It's
I would tell
undescribable.
you,
It really.
Once again, I wasn't spoiled on it. I had no idea. And I'm driving into to a location, undisclosed location in the beautiful city of Houston, Texas.
No addresses.
No addresses. And I'm listening, and I have like one of those little docks where you can put your phone up. So I'm listening, and then when I get to a red light, I'm watching, right? Listening, get to the red light, watching. When he knocks out Dan Murrell, I had a little bit of a fit at the stoplight. I'm not going to lie to you. I have like my here's my steering wheel. I start pounding on it like a drum whenever he wins. I'm like, hey, and I got really excited. And people probably were staring, but it was one of the most shocking moments. It's kind of like I won't. Maybe that's not a good example. It's like knowing something can't happen, right? Like we know that pigs can't fly. We know that this can't happen, right? This is my analogous situation. And then as I peer out my window, I see a swan with beautiful wax wings flying too close to the sun, right? That's what this was for me. I had no idea that this was even in the realm of possibility. And when Andrew Guy knocked Dan Murrell out, it was incredible. That's a great number 3. It would be on my list. It'd be top 3, but it's not 3 or 2. So let's go to Frank Janisch. Frank Janisch, you're number 2. Is it number 2? Is it the same moment?
It is not.
Oh, okay. What is it?
It is the 5 Horsemen reveal. I will say.
Whoa, that's number 2?
It's number 2.
That's no wait. That's number 2 for you?
That's number 2 for me. So
interesting.
Is it Viviani winning the title is number 1 for you?
It better be, or he's getting cut.
So the reason why it's at number 2 is because I think, while it is the first kind of big moment that's really been orchestrated in a live setting, and it was tailored for a live setting. Because I think if you've done this in the studio, it just you're not gonna have that kind of energy, not gonna have that same pop. So it was really tailor made for a live audience, and I appreciated the theatrics that went into it, and just the preparation and kind of the thought process, like how are we gonna do this, and then that's on top of revealing Dan Murrell. So that's all in one. 5 Horsemen, all of that. So that one, it's a pretty significant moment, although it really hasn't panned out in the way Christian probably would have liked or thought it could happen. But that's also kind of why it's a bigger moment for me, because it was something that was supposed to launch like this huge kind of I guess kind of takeover, but it fizzled out from the get-go pretty much.
Well, you didn't have to put a damper at the end of it. We could have stopped that. It was, but
that's kind of what it makes the moment. But yeah.
Now, I promise you, I listened to every word that you said. I promise you. But I will say I was slightly distracted by the poster that's behind you. What does that say? Keep calm and what?
I've been wondering this the whole time.
Have you really?
That's French. That's French.
What does it say?
Let's go. Allons-y.
Say it one more time.
Allons-y.
Can you say it without like slurring your words?
That's the French slur their words? I didn't know that. That's French. Allons-y. That's Allons-y.
And what does it mean?
Let go. Let's go. Like, let's go. Go ahead. Let's go.
Why
you ever watch Doctor Who?
Keep calm and let's go. No, I haven't watched Doctor Who.
Come on, you got it. It's David Tennant.
Okay. I've heard. Well, I'm sorry I asked.
Let's move
Chris, you watch Doctor Who? Come on.
Let's move. Got some
Doctor Who fans. Come on.
Chris Clark. Let's move to Chris Clark. What's your number 2, Chris?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna actually be objective here. My number 2 is Bibiani winning the belt.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Whoa!
It's Bibiani winning.
Whoa, mamacita.
The belt. No, because look, it's great that Bibbs won the belt. It sucks that he couldn't retain it, which it would probably be higher if he could have. But Bibbs winning the belt was also very special because actually, I don't think I told this on air yet, but when I got to Spectacular, Bibbs and Christian actually gave me this marquee that they printed out of him as a champion, and Bibbs said, "This belt was for you to my dear friend Chris," or whatever, and it signed Bibbs, and it really warmed my heart. That was really great, and that just really solidified how great the moment was for me personally on a personal level. Him winning also was kind of a get back to all the. I don't know if you guys are in the Facebook group a lot, but there were a lot of naysayers for Bibbs back in the January, February, March 2018 days. And now I'm interested to see where he ranks in people's like top 10s or where he would be in fantasy coming next year. So you can never sleep on the guy, and him winning the belt was a great moment. I lost my shirt when I did the reaction to it. It was phenomenal.
You literally did.
I did, and I got a lot of heat from it. So it's great. And, you know...
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. Should never put that on the internet. But Bibbs winning the belt is indeed my number 2.
I like it. I can't believe it's your number 2. I want to hear what your number 1 is, but first I'm going to go to Brianne Chandler for her number 2.
Yes, my number 2. Okay, this is not on anyone's list.
It better.
It is not on anyone's one's list. This was one of my favorite moments of the year, and I don't know why, but it stuck with me the entire year because it was like the second match that was released this year. When Cody Hall got his first question correct. And how excited everyone was, and how Cobster just runs up to him. I just loved everything about that. I also loved that he had a perfect first round, I believe.
Yeah,
so, he did. Just that whole first round.
Yeah.
For that match against Lon, and it was just hilarious.
That's a great call. That's a great call.
That is a great. We were hype. That was another one in the audience. We were so hype. It was a great Cody Hall. By the way, is the Jurassic Park match? Is it live on the channel?
It is
live now. Yes,
it is phenomenal. Kudos to all on that one. That was such a great match. I might actually watch that tonight. I might actually watch that again tonight. It was so good. It was so good. All right, that's your number. That was your number 2, right? Yes, that was your number 2. So now we're going to go back to Frank Janisch.
Yeah,
Frank Janisch. I'm going to ask you, what was your number 1? Because I was sure it was going to be the 5 Horsemen. So what is your number 1 moment of the year?
My number 1 moment was Dan Murrell getting TKO'd by Andrew Guy. That's my number 1 moment. Because
has to be.
It there's just no word to describe what it was like to be in that room. I mean, everything just came to a hush. Like at the end, it's just Andrew Guy's yelling his brains off, and he's flipping everybody off, and everyone. I mean, I think I was sitting next to Patrick Campbell, and we were just absolutely stunned. Just no one knew what to do. Like no one was prepared for this. This wasn't in the plan. Everyone's faces just made that moment even more surreal. And Andrew Guy, not only did he answer his questions correctly, he was answering Dan Murrell's questions that he would get wrong. It was the complete heel package you would ever want in a match. And if you could ever duplicate it again, it would be a feat all in itself. But if you're going to be a heel, that's the ultimate heel moment as well as an ultimate Schmoedown moment.
Ditto. Chris Clark. What is your number 1 moment of the year?
My number 1 isn't Shia Wolves winning the belt. It was almost my number 1, but because I figured it would have been talked about already. So I feel like this moment actually is one of the most cunning examples of somebody putting their health on the line to do a promo for their competitor. My moment of the year, number 1, is Jay Washington doing a promo for Janine after having a life-threatening illness happen to him, and he got right off of that illness train, went right to the studio and did that promo for her, sick as a fiddle, but you know what? He persevered and he did it because that's who Jay Washington is, and that is a moment in and among itself. Jay's promo for Janine after his life-threatening illness he had in the hospital at the beginning of the year. Jay's promo, bada bing, bada boom, is my number 1. Yeah,
that's a great number 1. That's a great pick. I would have never called that. That is a great pick. We're so happy that my guy Jay Washington is all good, and it definitely did not slow down him talking. He is still talking. I don't think that he stopped talking since that promo, but I do appreciate Jay Washington a lot. And shout out to him on the Star Wars spot that he did. I don't know if y'all saw that.
Oh,
on
yeah,
Twitter,
I saw that, yeah.
But shout out to Jay. That was so sweet. That was so cool. All right, Brianne.
Wait, is it Brianne next?
Yeah. I gotta follow it.
Yeah.
I have my Denzel tier coming now. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry.
That's a great one.
Great pick.
My number 1, I put that the Shire Wolves retain the belt. Not get the belt, but retain the belt.
Yeah.
And I feel like this has more weight to it because of the fact that people want to say, oh, you're not really a champion because you didn't beat someone that was already the champion for the belt. But now it's like, no, this is ours and we earned this. So I just really liked that moment. I thought it was a solidifying of champions, if you will.
110.
Yeah, I was back and forth between both their title wins for my list, but I picked the first one because it was the first. But yeah,
Yes.
that one easily could have given the spot.
No, I agree. It's one thing to win the title; it's another to defend it. You know, when you defend it, you definitely solidify yourself as top dog. And that's a great moment. So we have Andrew Guy, TK knocking out Dan Murrell. We have Jay Washington's promo straight from the hospital bed into the studio, and then the successful defense of the Shire Wolves Championship. I think those are all great moments. What do the people say, Frank? Why don't you pull up the comments real quick before we put a bow on this bad boy? What do we got in the chat?
Let's see here. We got Cool Guy says Andrew Guy TKOing the second greatest of all time. That's pretty good. Nico Suave Regoli, he says he dittos your pick, Chris, there. And so does Cool Guy. He did a little point thing up there.
Yes.
And let's see. Nicholas Gallagher, let's see. He says, my personal top 5 moments from the MTS this past year. Founding Fathers post-game interview after losing to corruption. Yeah. Number 4, Mara and Rachel while sick, go 11 questions deep into sudden death. And that's all he has in that comment. So we will never know number 3, 2, and 1.
I will say, I will peel back the curtain just a little bit and reveal what was one of my nominations for the Schmoedown Awards. I will reveal this for Moment of the Year. And I didn't know if it was going to technically count, but I put it in there because as a wrestling fan and a fight fan, but especially a wrestling fan, I love when two people go at it. And I love when I don't know is what are they saying? Are they saying things in character or are they saying things as themselves?
I know you go.
Are they is this a story or is this what we call a shoot, brother? And Bibiani and Roca on Collider Live was one of the craziest things I saw the entire year. Now, I know, like, Roca, we know he's fiery. As a fiery man. We know Bibbs is sweet as a teddy bear. But that was, for me, I nominated that moment as something that I was just like, I do not know what is going on. I don't know if the lines are blurred. I don't know what's going on right now, but I love every single second of it. So that was a nomination for me. You know, I thought it was nuts. That was nuts.
Yeah.
That was a nutty
super
moment.
awkward.
It was awkward, but you know what? It kind of
Not for me, man. I was like, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it, but I was like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Whatever. But that was a great moment. I enjoyed that one as well. So that was one on my list. But hey, guys, make sure you comment. If you weren't watching live, comment below. Tell us what your number one moment of the year was and what your number one entrance was. And we're going to find out what the votes say here very soon at the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Awards. At the awards, we're going to hear. Well, Brianne, I do appreciate you for joining us here today on the show. This was a fun show. We're gonna do these for a couple more weeks before we get back in the full swing of things. I'm sure we're gonna do some stuff on the Schmoedown Awards after they are announced as well. But let's go around the table here one more time here for our inaugural edition on the formerly Schmoes Know channel, the Movie Trivia Schmoedown YouTube channel. I'm gonna go to Brianne first. Why don't you let people know where they can find you, where they can follow you, what you got to plug, all that great stuff.
Okay, all those things. I guess you can just find me on Instagram, Miss_Movies. That's it. That's all I want to do.
That's it.
Okay.
I got nothing
envy.
else that I want to
Now-
seen.
And you are the ruler of the Patreon. And
Yes.
and now correct me if I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, just say wrong and I'll move. We do have a Patreon giveaway.
We do.
recipient.
See how easy it is
So
to forget?
good, Brad. It is.
You know,
easy to
hey,
forget.
I didn't forget.
Bravo to
Patreon
you.
giveaway
Start 2019.
Yes.
recipient. And would you like to reveal that to the world there?
Yeah, his name is Thomas Howd. I'm
Thomas
just gonna say Howd.
H-O-D-E.
Yeah, I think that's right.
H-O-U-D-E. Thomas Howd. Thomas Howd, congratulations. You're the Patreon giveaway recipient. And
Yes.
and what is he receiving?
Okay, he's getting like headshots. He has a signed one from Roca. He has my headshot, Tom Dagnino's headshot, Sam Levine's. I don't think he has Mike Kalinowski's, which was one, but I don't know where that one went, so it's not there. There you go.
Thomas Howd, brother. Congrats. Frank Janisch, why don't you let the people know where they can find you, what you got going on?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at FrankieJ29. And on Monday, if you're following my Twitter and Instagram, I'm going to be putting up something, a video-ish, and of something I've been working on, a project I've been working on with a couple other people out here. And so I've been... No. It's going to be... I guess, yeah, it's going to be a teaser for this this project I've been working on with some people over here, and you'll see what it is once. Because I can't say that much about it. I can't really say that much. But
it's something I've been working on with some people over here.
Yeah,
that's the most vague sentence I've ever heard in my life.
It's I've been working on it for like almost like a year-ish now. So we're finally putting out a teaser trailer basically for it. Yeah,
we know it's a video-ish. It's a video-ish.
It's a teaser.
It's a project. Okay. It's something you've been working on with some people for around a year-ish.
Mm-hmm. I say some people because you don't know who these people are. So that's why there's some people to you. So.
But you know what? Their mothers know who they are. Chris Clark, why don't you let the people know where they can find you, follow you, and check out your projects?
You can always find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChrisClark8788. Those numbers mean nothing. And also, yep, they don't. And you can also, if you're in the New York area during the Schmoedown live event on that Saturday, the Thursday before, on the 24th, my band, Alex Marzona and Jay Washington himself, are going to be rocking a fan meetup concert at Sidewalk Cafe. At 8:30 p.m. it starts, and make sure to come by. Food and drink requirement, and $5 suggested donation. It's going to be great, and we're here to rock in the new Schmoedown season with a bang. So it's going to be a fun weekend. Yep.
Bang! Make sure you check out more information on that. That should be fun in New York City, New York. My name is Brad Gilmore. You can follow me on all social media at Brad Gilmore. Make sure you check out Booker T, WWE Hall of Famer Booker T and I show. Heated conversations every single week. Find it on your favorite podcast app, or if you're local here to Houston, Texas, you can listen to us every Saturday on Sports Radio 610. I'm also the host of the Brad Gilmore Show. Make sure you check out for new episodes. Always, our last episode of the year was with Bibbiani, the aforementioned William the Beast Bibbiani, where we broke down all 5 Home Alone movies, and William the Beast Bibbiani said Home Alone 5 is the best Home Alone movie. What a crazy person. Also, you can find us here every single week on the Movie Trivia Schmoedown channel. Follow us on at SD Rundown on Twitter, Schmoedown Rundown on Instagram, and on Facebook. We'll be back next week with another live episode here on the channel.